So hello everyone, welcome to my channel again. Before I go on, please like my video, share my video, and subscribe to my video. So today I'm going to talk about the US being a threat to India, to Bharat. I have put out a video before about that. I talk about the US being a threat to the world, but not just the world, but India. And my video tends to focus on India, right? Because that's India is what I care about. I really don't care much about the others as well, unless they're working together with India on equal terms, which most people don't do. Most nations don't. So in one of my previous video, I said India needs intercontinental ballistic missiles. And I don't see Modi working towards building those missiles. You need to build those missiles because you need to be able to deter the United States. What's the use of having nuclear weapons if the person who threatens you with nuclear weapons, you're not able to reach them? So this is why in my last video, and I put that video out just after Trump came into power or won the election, and I stated that he's a threat to the world. And I stressed the urgency of India needing to develop intercontinental ballistic missile. And I know that the Indian leadership went in there thinking that they had a really good relationship with Trump and they know how to navigate Trump and, navigate his unpredictability. The problem with Trump is that he's becoming, what's the word I want to use here? Infected, inebriated with dementia, showing signs of dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. This makes this man highly unpredictable, right? He's going to be unpredictable to everyone. But not only that, he has always been unpredictable. And the thing about him is when he thrives, he loves being unpredictable. He loves being a nuisance. He loves being a bully. So there is no way to deal with this man other than to be powerful enough to threaten him directly or where you can inflict hurt upon him. This is how you contain this guy. And yes, the United States need to be contained as well. Okay? The United States needs to be contained as well. They have been one of the great evils of this world. I mean, they've removed governments, democratically elected governments, okay? Not autocratic government, not government committing atrocities, not government abusing their people, not government taking political leaders. These were governments that worked in the best interests of their people. So from Panama, not really Panama, but Guyana, Iran, Iraq, Chile, everywhere they have removed democratically elected governments. Okay? If you are the worst government committing genocide, but you work for American interests, they will support you and provide you with support. And I'll give the Indian people a very great example of that. Pakistan. Pakistan committed a genocide that totaled over 3 million people. Till today, the United States have never acknowledged it and acknowledged their role, that their support and their weapons played in facilitating that genocide. So, to the Indian government out there, what's your excuse? History have taught you that you need to be able to strike the enemy, inflict hurt upon the enemy. You need to adopt the doctrine of mutually assured destruction. Okay? And don't do like the Russians are doing in the Ukraine. The Russians are letting themselves be destroyed by proxy. Okay? The Americans are destroying, NATO is destroying the Russians by proxy. The Russians have long past a threshold where they should have escalated. Now escalation is almost too meaningless and too dangerous for them. They don't have good strategists in there. And I can see that India is lacking some strategists because they're not developing intercontinental ballistic missiles. Not only land-based ones, but submarine launch ones as well. The United States is an imminent threat, an emergent threat, and an active threat, and an ongoing threat to India. Okay? The United States, in collaboration with Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, keeps Khalistani elements alive to be used as pressure point to ensure that Western hegemony always prevail. It is a racist, highly racist tactic that they're employing to keep Western hegemony alive. You have to realize that Western hegemony, like Pakistan, is an aberration of history. Okay? True, the true economic might, the true economic superpower, the true technological superpower has always been between India and China, back and forth. Okay? Indian industry and wealth was transferred to the West. Okay? And I hate that the Indian Congress and liberals and Marxists and socialists have this ingrained inferiority complex that they don't see it. Okay? The Europeans did not leave Europe because Europe was a paradise. They left it because it was a cesspool of desperation, poverty, and disease. You need to remember and need to realize this. Okay? You need to realize this. That is why they left. Okay? India had a thriving, highly competitive, globalized economy, traded globally with the world. Okay? And India is very far from its root. And the BJP, and I love Modi. I do love Modi. I think since Sardar Patel, he's the best leader that Bharat has ever had. But this man is not doing India justice. And his focus on Pakistan, and Bangladesh is too narrow. It's too narrow. It needs to have a global perspective. And a global perspective will allow you, okay, we need to be global, but let us deal with the threat that we have immediately. Bangladesh and Pakistan. You know, you think like that, you will remove that threat. You will address that threat once and for all. You have to realize that should India surpass China, okay, and on its way to challenge the US, which will happen if everything remains as it is. It will happen. Nothing else needs to change because China is already shooting themselves in the feet. Okay? That one-child policy and President Xi, they are two things that have, merged together to contain China from China's rise. It's just a matter of time before India, if things remain as it is and incrementally increase, India will surpass China and become the second largest economy before moving on to the first. Forget fourth and third. It will become the second. But once that happens, the US is going to flip-flop, meaning that they're now going to embrace China and co-opt Pakistan and Bangladesh, maybe even Nepal, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives against India. This is what's going to happen. Okay? This is what's going to happen. And this is going to happen within the next 25 to 30 years. That's the window you have. That's the window that India has. So India needs to get on board right now. Okay? It needs to really develop a plan to eliminate the Western threat, the Eastern threat, ensure that integrates Nepal and Sri Lanka into the greater Dharmic civilization. Okay? Don't refer to as an Indian sphere of influence. It is the Dharmic civilization, okay? Where each and every one are all equal. Each and every one, they're all equal. Okay? So India needs to work towards reinvigorating and re-establishing the Dharmic civilization. Okay? India is losing this opportunity. And it's going to lose the race simply because it's not participating in the race. It does not see the bigger picture. I always like to go when something happens, I don't say what happened. I like to know what caused it and what caused the cause and what caused the cause of the cause. Okay? Let me Let me give you guys a great example that most people, if not, in fact, I'm the only one the only person I'm aware that is aware of this is myself. Okay, I don't know if anybody, even Sarah Payne, I hear her talk, but even she, and she's pretty good, but even she does not address this. Okay, so let's talk about Imperial Japan. How did it come about? How did Imperial Japan come about? It's not just Japanese militarism. Okay, you have the Chinese and the Koreans hating the Japanese. But what led to Imperial Japan? You have to realize that before Imperial Japan emerged, Japan closed itself off to the world. But the US sent gunboat diplomacy, gunships there, gunboat diplomacy, to force Japan to open up to American businesses because they wanted to trade unfairly and sell to the Japanese what they didn't need to make money for American businesses. It is something that America still do. They are concerned about American business. They don't give a rat's ass about human rights and, democracy. No, America is only about American business and American business interests. Okay? It's a sham of a democracy. It's not a true democracy. So the Japanese, they wanted to fight, but they realized they have the spirit but not the means. And this is where the Meiji Restoration happened. It was triggered by the Americans. And then from that, they realized, well, everybody's having empires. So they decided to build one. Okay? So they went into Manchuria, Korea, Taiwan. And remember, China was always an imperial power. Okay? They had also colonized and invaded other people. So they're not just victims, they were aggressors. And then the Japanese, because what the Americans, this triggered Japanese imperialism. So the Koreans and the Chinese and the Taiwanese should hate the Americans for causing that. The Americans are the root cause. They are the root cause of why Imperial Japan emerged. But everybody falsely direct their hate towards the Japanese. Yet they emulate the Japanese success and modernize on all of these things. But they did not do it the way the Japanese did. You see, the Japanese did not lose their Shinto identity. But the Koreans, a lot of them, almost 50% of them converting to Christianity, made them rich. The Christians robbed Bharat, India, transferred India's technology to them. They got rich by oppression and slavery and stealing. They did not do, that might be the Christian way because in Christianity you're allowed to have slaves and it's in the Bible. You can rob and pillage and have slaves and do all these nonsense, right? So it's a very Christian thing. But sadly, the point is, as I'm saying, you need to sometimes look beyond what you see to find out the real reason, to find out the truth, or to find out what's going to happen. Okay? Yes, getting into America, an American camp to contain China is what the Americans want. But soon as India surpasses China, they're going to flip-flop and now embrace China with Bangladesh and Pakistan to contain India. Okay? And I've said before, India needs to know how to play this game. Learn from the Chinese. Or even better, the Pakistanis do a way better job. The Pakistanis take the American monies while stabbing them in the back with a needle. Nobody does it better than the Pakistanis. But the Pakistanis are like the Bangladeshis. They're like Western hegemony and Western civilization and economic dominance. It's an aberration of history. It will move back to between Bharat and China, but mostly to Bharat because the Chinese Communist Party is a block to Chinese immersions. Ironically, they are the greatest barrier and impediment to Chinese emergence. Okay? And President Xi has added to that barrier, that impediment. Okay? So that leaves India. Never mind the fact that India is now the fourth largest economy. It is going to become the third and then the second. But becoming the second is where the challenge will be. And you need to know, I'm saying this right now, that the Americans, the United States, is a threat. The greatest threat that India is going to face. Forget China, forget Pakistan, forget Bangladesh. The threat that India faces is the Americans, which is why I say now is the time to develop intercontinental ballistic missile, submarine launch ballistic missile with intercontinental range. Now is the time to really develop stealth fighters, stealth bombers, stealth submarines, because you can't develop it 25 years from now. You have to develop it now so you can improve on it. You can improve on it, and you have to dedicate resources to that, okay? Because the United States is going to be the ultimate threat, okay? And India needs to find a way to counteract and to contain the United States, okay? And there are ways to do that. Believe it or not, there are lots of ways to do that. But India needs to look globally. India is only focused on the Indian subcontinent. They don't even look at China. They just look at the border with China. You know, I have not seen any improvement in India's strategic doctrine that shows that they're preparing to become a global power. And you have to be a global power if you want to emerge as an economic power and a power that no others can threaten you or threaten your economy like the US is doing right now. Okay? And that means also that you have to strengthen the Indian rupee and you have to make it the de facto global currency. Think about that. This is what India needs to be working towards. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, I want you to share my video, subscribe to my video, and like my video. We need to get this out there. Unfortunately, I'm not born in India, though I'm Indian, 100% Indian. Hopefully, I can make my way there so I can actively work towards this, okay? I don't want to be a keyboard, computer, internet warrior. I want to be a warrior on the ground. So take care and support those who realize that Bharat's greatest enemy is going to be, an ultimate enemy is going to be the United States, okay? This is why they keep the Khalistani elements alive in the US. Take care.